The discovery. The Starlight Endeavour drifted silently through the outer reaches of the Orion Arm, its weathered hull reflecting the distant starlight in dull patches. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the viewport, watching as the stars slowly shifted position. The Endeavour wasn't much to look at, a third-rate survey vessel that other spacefaring species often mistook for space debris. But it was home to its crew of 15, and it did its job reliably, if unspectacularly. Captain, long-range scanners are picking up something unusual, called Communications Officer Hiroshi Tanaka, his fingers dancing across switches that had outlasted 3 attempts at upgrading the ship's systems. Helena moved to Hiroshi's station, noting the unusual wave pattern on the antiquated display. What are we looking at? It's not matching any known format, but it's definitely artificial. Hiroshi adjusted his headset, an antique piece of equipment that the crew had grown oddly attached to. Source is bearing 183 Mark 27, about 4 light days out. Science Officer Dr. Amara Okafor looked up from her station. That's in the Vishnu Nebula. Uncharted territory. Elena considered their options. The Endeavour wasn't an exploration vessel. It was barely more than a space-worthy tugboat designed for routine surveys of established colonies. But out here on the edge of known space, unexpected discoveries were part of the job. Plot a course, she ordered Navigator Wei Chen. Let's investigate, but carefully. The journey to the signal source took them beyond their assigned survey route. As they approached the coordinates, Chief Engineer Darius Rodriguez reported unusual power fluctuations, but the ship's mechanical backup systems kept them running steady. I'm getting some strange readings from the nebula, Dr. Okafor reported, adjusting her scanner. The signal is coming from what appears to be an artificial structure. Elena leaned forward. On screen. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a massive structure floating amid the swirling gases of the nebula. It was clearly of alien design, all sweeping curves and crystalline spires that seemed to defy conventional engineering. It's beautiful, Wei whispered. And old, Amara added. Based on the radiation signature, I'd estimate it's been here for at least 3,000 years. As the Endeavour approached, the structure came into clearer view. Parts of it were damaged, with great sections torn away as if by some tremendous force. Life signs? Elena asked. None that I can detect, Amara replied. But there are power signatures deep within the structure. Something still functioning in there. Elena made her decision. Prepare a boarding party. Standard exploration protocols. The team assembled in the shuttle bay. Elena, Darius, Amara, and Security Chief Malik Jefferson. They boarded the Endeavour's shuttle, a rugged utilitarian craft that had seen better days. Remember, Elena cautioned as they approached the alien structure, we're here to observe and document. No unnecessary risks. The shuttle docked with the structure through an airlock that, surprisingly, was compatible with their systems. Darius checked the atmosphere readings. Air's thin but breathable. Gravity at about 0.8 Earth standard. They stepped into the alien outpost, their flashlights illuminating corridors of translucent material that seemed to glow faintly from within. The architecture was unlike anything they had seen before, organic and flowing, as if the structure had been grown rather than built. These markings, Amara said, running her hand along symbols etched into the walls, they match patterns we've seen in ancient artifacts from the Andromeda colonies. The Celestials. Elena nodded. The Celestials were a legendary species said to have achieved technological mastery beyond imagination before mysteriously vanishing from the galaxy. Most scientists dismissed them as myth. As they ventured deeper into the structure, they encountered rooms filled with technology so advanced it seemed magical. Crystalline computers hummed with energy, displays flickered with alien script, and in one chamber they found what appeared to be a star map of the entire galaxy. This technology, Darius whispered, his engineer's mind struggling to comprehend what he was seeing. It shouldn't be possible. In the central chamber, they made their most startling discovery. 7 crystalline pods, each containing a humanoid figure suspended in a glowing field of energy. "They're alive," Amara confirmed, checking her scanner. "In some form of stasis. Based on the biological readings, these beings have been preserved for thousands of years." One of the pods was flashing an alert, its energy field fluctuating. The being inside, tall and slender with iridescent skin, twitched slightly. "I think it's waking up," Malik warned, hand moving to his sidearm. The pod's field suddenly collapsed, and the alien inside fell forward. Elena rushed to catch it, easing it gently to the floor. The being's eyes fluttered open, 3 of them arranged in a triangle on its face, and focused on Elena. It spoke, a melodious series of tones that seemed to resonate within Elena's mind rather than through her ears. "It's trying to communicate," Amara said, adjusting her universal translator. The device was outdated by galactic standards, but its simple design had proven surprisingly effective with unknown languages. "The syntax is complex," Amara muttered, "but I'm getting something. A warning." The alien's 3 eyes widened as it noticed the technology around them. It reached out suddenly, grabbing Elena's arm with surprising strength. The translator crackled. "Coming. Hunger. Darkness." The alien convulsed suddenly, its body arching in pain. Around them, the outpost's systems began to fluctuate wildly, lights dimming and brightening in chaotic patterns. "We need to get back to the ship," Elena ordered, helping Malik support the weakened alien. "Something's wrong." As they made their way back toward the shuttle, the outpost shuddered violently. Through viewports, they could see the nebula outside churning with unnatural patterns, dark tendrils of something moving through the colorful gases. "Captain," Hiroshi's voice came through their comms, "something's happening to the nebula. Energy readings are off the charts." They barely made it to the shuttle before another violent tremor shook the outpost. As they disengaged from the docking port, Elena saw dark energy beginning to creep along the crystalline spires of the structure, causing the advanced technology to spark and fail. The shuttle's engines roared to life, fusion drives that more advanced species had abandoned centuries ago, propelling them back toward the Endeavor. Behind them, sections of the outpost were going dark as the strange energy consumed it. "What is that thing?" Darius asked, staring at the sensor readings. The alien, now partially recovered, touched the shuttle's console. The translator struggled to keep up. "Void Hunter seeks, destroys, knowledge." The shuttle docked with the Endeavor, and they rushed the alien to the medical bay. Dr. Imani Lewis, the ship's physician, immediately began treatment using the ship's basic but reliable medical equipment. The others, the alien managed to communicate, "My people, still in stasis." Elena faced a difficult decision. The outpost was clearly under attack by some unknown force, but there were 6 more aliens still trapped inside. "Darius, can we go back for them?" she asked. The engineer studied the readings from the outpost. "The entity seems to be targeting the advanced systems first. Our shuttle's simple design might give us an advantage." Elena nodded. "Prepare for a rescue operation. Minimal crew, minimal systems. If this thing hunts advanced technology, we'll go in as low-tech as possible." As they prepared for the rescue mission, Elena couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The Endeavor, a ship that advanced species wouldn't even consider worthy of their spaceports, might be the only thing capable of saving these beings and their ancient knowledge. Their modest vessel had found its moment to prove its worth, and Captain Elena Reyes intended to make the most of it. The rescue operation began in eerie silence. The Endeavor's shuttle, piloted by Navigator Wei, approached the outpost once more. Through the viewport, Elena watched as sections of the once glorious structure continued to go dark, consumed by the mysterious energy. "Keep power emissions at minimum," she ordered. "Manual controls only." Wei nodded, his hand steady on the physical control yoke, a design that hadn't changed much in centuries of space travel. They docked at a different airlock, farther from the encroaching darkness. The boarding party, Elena, Malik and Darius moved quickly through the dimming corridors, guided by simple chemical light sticks rather than electronic flashlights. When they reached the stasis chamber, 2 more pods had begun to fail, their occupants stirring within. Darius went to work immediately, using basic mechanical tools to disconnect the pods from the outpost's failing systems. The pods have their own isolated power supply, he explained, but they're integrated with the outpost control systems. I need to separate them completely. As Darius worked, Alina felt a cold sensation at the back of her neck. Turning slowly, she saw tendrils of dark energy creeping along the walls, dimming the bioluminescent material as they advanced. "Hurry," she urged. They managed to disconnect 4 pods before the darkness reached the chamber. The 5th and 6th pods were already engulfed, their occupants lost to the void. "That's all we can save," Malik said grimly, helping Darius secure the last pod to their makeshift transport sled. As they retreated toward the shuttle, the darkness seemed to notice them for the first time. A tendril of void energy reached out, touching their equipment. The advanced scanner Amara had left with them sparked and died instantly, but their simple mechanical tools remained unaffected. They barely made it back to the shuttle, the void energy pursuing them with increasing speed. As they disengaged from the docking port, Alina saw the entire outpost shudder and begin to collapse in on itself, the ancient technology giving way to the hunger of the void. The Endeavor's shuttle, protected by its simple design, remained operational as it raced back to the ship. Behind them, the outpost disappeared into a swirling vortex of dark energy that seemed to consume light itself. In the medical bay, Dr. Lewis worked frantically to revive the aliens from stasis. The first one they had rescued, who had introduced itself as Zilar, watched with a mixture of hope and despair as its companions were brought out of suspended animation. 4 survived. Zyler communicated through the translator. 3 lost. Better than I dared hope. Elena stood with Ziller at the viewport as the Endeavor moved away from the nebula, the dark energy still visible as a cancerous blot among the colorful gases. "What was that thing?" she asked. Ziller's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Elena had learned indicated deep thought. "We called it the Void Hunter. It appeared 3,000 of your years ago, destroying our most advanced outposts one by one. It seems to feed on advanced technology, growing stronger with each consumption. Why didn't it attack us?" Elena asked. Zillar turned to look at the Endeavor's bridge, taking in the physical switches, the mechanical backup systems, the technology that more advanced species would consider hopelessly outdated. "Your vessel," Zyler replied. "It is simple. The Hunter seeks complexity, intelligence beyond a certain threshold. Your technology falls beneath its notice." Elena considered this. "Then we're safe." Ziller's expression changed, the translator struggling to convey the complex emotions. "For now. But the Hunter is adaptive. It learns, and now it has consumed much of our knowledge. It will grow, evolve. No technology will remain beneath its notice forever." As if to punctuate Ziller's warning, a distant flash lit the viewport as the last remains of the ancient outpost were consumed by the void. "Then we need to warn Earth," Elena said firmly, "and the rest of the galaxy." Zeller placed a 6-fingered hand on Elena's shoulder. "Yes, but first, there is more you must know. The outpost you found was not merely a research station. It was a weapon, one of many we created to fight the Hunter." Elena's eyes widened. "A weapon. The last hope of my people," Zyler confirmed. "And now, perhaps, the last hope for yours." The challenge. The survivors from the ancient outpost gathered in the Endeavor's conference room, a utilitarian space that doubled as the mess hall when needed. The 4 Celestials stood nearly 7 feet tall, their iridescent skin shifting colors with their emotions. They regarded the human technology around them with expressions that Elena interpreted as a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "Unbelievable." One of them, who had introduced himself as Nexus, muttered as he examined a mechanical pressure gauge. You navigate interstellar space with technology that wouldn't have impressed even our earliest ancestors. Yet we're alive, and your outpost isn't. Darius pointed out, earning a sharp look from Elena. Zealer, who had appointed himself spokesperson for the group, placed a hand on Nexus's arm. Our friend speaks truth, harsh though it may be. The hunter could not see their vessel as we would see it, as primitive. To the hunter, simplicity is invisibility. The conference room's lights flickered, and for a moment, everyone tensed. Chief Engineer Rodriguez's voice came over the intercom. Just a power fluctuation, Captain. The nebula's radiation is affecting our systems, but the mechanical backups are holding. Elena nodded, then turned to Ziller. You mentioned the outpost was a weapon. Explain. Ziller's skin rippled with a deep blue pattern. Sadness, Elena had learned. My people, the Celestials as you call us, achieved technological mastery beyond what most species ever reach. We harnessed the energy of stars, reshaped matter at its fundamental level, and spread our civilization across 3 galaxies. Then something happened, Dr. Okafor prompted. Yes, 3,000 years ago, our scientists detected an anomaly in the void between galaxies, a pattern in the quantum foam that shouldn't have existed. They built specialized outposts to study it, including the one you found. Nexus continued. The anomaly was artificial, created by something older than our civilization. By studying it, we inadvertently awakened it. The Void Hunter, Elena said. One of many names for it, Zyler confirmed. It began consuming our technology, growing stronger with each outpost it destroyed. It seemed particularly drawn to our most advanced systems, quantum computers, consciousness transfers, matter reorganizers. We fought back, added another celestial named Lyra, her skin flashing with angry red patterns. We created weapons designed to trap and contain the hunters, using similar principles to those that created them in the first place. The outpost you found was one such weapon, designed to lure a hunter and then collapse it into a singularity. But it didn't work, Malik observed. No, Zyler admitted. The hunters adapted faster than we could develop countermeasures. Eventually, we realized our technology was our downfall. The more advanced our defenses, the more attractive they became to the hunters. So you retreated, Elena guessed, abandoned your outposts and went into hiding. Not hiding, Nexus corrected sharply. Strategic preservation. We placed our greatest minds in stasis, hoping to outlast the hunters or wake when a solution presented itself. The ship shuddered suddenly, more violently than before. Elena grabbed the edge of the table to steady herself. Engineering to bridge. Rodriguez's voice came through, tense with urgency. Captain, we've got a problem. Something's following us. Elena and the others rushed to the bridge. Through the main viewport, they could see a disturbance in space behind them, a rippling darkness that seemed to bend light around it. Maximum thrust, Elena ordered, all non-essential systems offline. The Endeavor's engines roared to life, pushing the old ship to speeds it rarely achieved. But the darkness continued to gain on them. It's following us, Zyler said, his voice filled with dread. The hunter has acquired our trail. How? Elena demanded. You said our technology was too simple to attract it. It must have sensed the stasis pods, Lyra suggested. Or perhaps it's evolving, becoming sensitive to simpler technologies. The darkness closed in, tendrils of void energy reaching out toward the Endeavor. Where they touched the hull, sensors went dark and systems failed. Manual override on all systems, Elena shouted. Rodriguez, give me everything the engines have got. The engineering crew worked frantically, bypassing computer controls to operate systems directly. The Endeavor groaned under the strain, its aged hull protesting as it pushed beyond design specifications. One of the tendrils brushed against the ship's main computer core, causing cascading failures throughout the electronic systems. But the mechanical backups held, and the Endeavor continued its desperate flight. We can't outrun it, Navigator Way reported grimly. It's gaining too quickly. Elena looked to the Celestials. You said the outpost was a weapon. How was it supposed to work? Ziller hesitated, exchanging glances with the others. The principle was to create a quantum resonance field that would force the hunter to collapse in on itself, but it required enormous energy and precision timing. Could we recreate it? Elena asked. With this? Nexus gestured dismissively at the Endeavor systems. Impossible. The calculations alone would require computing power you cannot imagine. Darius, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. Maybe we don't need to imagine it. Maybe we need to simplify it. All eyes turned to the engineer. He pointed to the mechanical star charts spread out on the navigation console. The hunters evolved to counter your advanced technology. They expect complexity, sophistication. But what if we approach the problem from the opposite direction? Ziller's three eyes blinked rapidly as understanding dawned. Basic principles. Fundamental forces. Exactly, Darius said. Your weapon failed because it was too sophisticated. The hunter adapted to it. But what if we created something so basic that it doesn't register as a threat until it's too late? For the next hour, as the Endeavor continued its desperate flight from the pursuing darkness, Darius and the Celestials worked feverishly to design a new weapon. They discarded complex algorithms in favor of fundamental physics, replaced quantum calculations with Newtonian mechanics, and built their plan around the simplest tools available. It could work, Lyra admitted, her skin pulsing with cautious hope. The resonance field doesn't require advanced technology to generate. It's the precision that was difficult. But if we use mechanical timing and manual synchronization, Darius added, we'd need to get close to it, Zyler pointed out. Dangerously close. Elena, who had been listening to the plan develop, made her decision. Then that's what we'll do. Way, plot a course to the nearest star system with a dense asteroid field. The plan was audacious in its simplicity, using the Endeavor's basic mining equipment, tools designed for routine asteroid sampling. They would modify several large asteroids with mechanical resonators tuned to specific frequencies. When activated in sequence, they would create a disruption field similar to the one the Celestials' weapon had been designed to generate. It's going to be tight, Darius warned as they approached the asteroid field. The timing has to be perfect, and we'll be doing it manually. The hunter had fallen behind slightly, confused by the Endeavor's erratic course changes, but it was still pursuing them relentlessly. The ship entered the asteroid field, navigating carefully among the tumbling rocks. They selected 4 suitable asteroids and quickly set to work, using the shuttle to ferry equipment and crew. The modifications were crude by celestial standards, mechanical devices attached to the asteroids with simple clamps and powered by chemical batteries. But they were designed according to principles the Celestials provided, principles that even they have forgotten in their rush toward ever more advanced technology. The resonators are in place, Darius reported after the final installation. Ready to activate on your command. Elena nodded, looking at the tactical display where the dark mass of the hunter was visible approaching the asteroid field. Everyone back to the ship. We need to be at a safe distance when this triggers. As the shuttle returned to the Endeavor for the last time, the hunter entered the asteroid field, moving purposefully toward them. It seemed to have grown, its dark mass now large enough to engulf the entire ship. It's time, Elena said. Initiate the sequence. Darius activated the first resonator using a simple radio signal, technology so basic that the hunter wouldn't recognize it as a threat. The asteroid began to vibrate at a specific frequency, generating waves that rippled through space-time. The hunter paused, as if sensing something unusual. It changed course slightly, moving toward the activated asteroid. Now the second, Darius said, sending another signal. The second resonator activated, its frequency harmonizing with the first to create a complex interference pattern. The hunter's mass began to ripple, distorting as it moved between the 2 asteroids. Third resonator. With the third activation, The interference pattern became three-dimensional, creating a cage of energy around the hunter. It thrashed violently, tendrils of void energy lashing out in all directions. Several struck the Endeavor, causing systems to fail, but the ship's mechanical backups kept it functioning. "Final resonator," Darius said, his finger hovering over the transmitter button. "This will either collapse it or make it very angry," Malik finished grimly. "Do it." The fourth signal went out, activating the last resonator. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the hunter's mass began to contract, pulling inward as the resonance field forced it to collapse. It fought against the compression, sending out pulses of energy that shook the Endeavor and caused several asteroids to shatter. On the bridge, systems failed one after another as the hunter's death throes washed over them. The main power went out, plunging them into darkness before emergency lighting activated. "Hold together," Elena whispered, whether to her crew or her ship, she wasn't sure. With a final, silent implosion, the hunter collapsed completely, leaving behind only a faint distortion in space that quickly dissipated. For several long moments, no one spoke. Then Ziller broke the silence. "It worked," the Celestial said, wonder evident in his voice. "A weapon created from technology, so basic our scientists would have dismissed it without a second thought." Elena looked around at her bridge, at the mechanical gauges, the physical switches, the backup systems that had kept them alive when everything else failed. Sometimes the old ways are the most reliable. In the days that followed, as the Endeavor limped back toward human space, the Celestials worked alongside the human crew to repair the damage. Elena noticed a change in their attitude. Gone was the condescension, replaced by a genuine curiosity about the primitive technology that had saved them all. "What will you do now?" Elena asked Ziller as they stood in the observation lounge, watching the stars. "There are more hunters out there," the Celestial replied. "Many more. And now, they will be hunting us, hunting all sentient life that develops technology beyond a certain threshold. But we proved they can be defeated," Elena pointed out. "Yes, not with greater complexity, but with deliberate simplicity." Zylar turned to face her. "My people lost our way, Captain Reyes. We became so enamored with our advancement that we forgot our foundations. Perhaps it is time we relearned what you humans never forgot. Which is that true resilience comes not from sophisticated defenses, but from understanding the fundamental principles that underlie them." Zylar's skin rippled with a new pattern Elena hadn't seen before: respect. "Your people have much to teach mine, Captain, if you are willing." Elena smiled. "I think we have much to teach each other." As the Endeavor continued its journey home, carrying news of both a terrible threat and an unexpected alliance, Elena reflected on the irony of their situation. The modest vessel that advanced species would have dismissed as obsolete had proven to be humanity's greatest asset. In a galaxy where technological advancement had become the measure of civilization, it was the ability to step back, to simplify, that might ultimately ensure their survival. The hunters were still out there, adapting and evolving. But now, so were they. In the captain's quarters, Elena recorded her official log. "The threat we face is unlike anything humanity has encountered before. But perhaps our greatest strength lies not in racing toward ever more advanced technology, but in remembering where we came from." The Void Hunters prey on complexity, on sophistication. They expect resistance to follow predictable patterns of escalation. They do not expect simplicity to be wielded as a weapon. The Celestials lost nearly everything because they forgot their foundations. We must learn from their mistake. As we move forward into this new era of galactic awareness, we must remember that true resilience comes not from abandoning our past, but from carrying its lessons with us into the future. The modest vessels may yet prevail where the mighty falter. This is the lesson of the Endeavor, and one I hope humanity never forgets. As she finished her log, Elena looked out at the stars streaming past. Somewhere out there, more hunters were waiting. But somewhere out there, too, were other species fighting their own battles against the darkness. Perhaps together, they might find a way not just to survive, but to thrive in the face of this ancient threat. The Endeavour continued its journey home, a humble ship carrying a message that would change the course of human history, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself.